do see many of the people who submitted, so that's great. We have a couple more people coming on right now. That's awesome. Go ahead and turn on my camera so that I can just share a few things. All right, so I think I'm going to go ahead and get started and welcome everyone. Welcome to the closing session of DidHack. I'm really glad that everyone was able to join us all throughout the week, and we certainly had a lot of fun seeing this whole thing come to life. So today, what to expect? We're going to be reviewing submissions. So it looks like we have a few people who did submit their final projects in the type form, so we'll go ahead and give you guys some time to review your projects. Time constraints are a little bit looser. So if you do want to go, say, past the 5-minute mark or so, there's actually enough time if you'd like to take a little bit more time to review your projects. I think we'll cap it at 10 minutes. But of course, if you don't need that much time and you just want to go through it in 3 minutes, that's fine as well. So a few things I do want to share with all of you. First off, if you missed any of the sessions, any of the breakout sessions, I do want to share that they are on YouTube now. So if you want to get them all in one place, here's the link right here. Let me see. So is anyone having trouble hearing me? Someone said that they that I was muted. Okay, everyone's able to hear. Okay, so it could be something on your end, so maybe you want to check that out. Perfect. So I went ahead and I shared that YouTube channel where you will be able to see all of those breakout sessions. If there's anything you want to go back to or you missed, they're all there except for the opening session. Unfortunately, because of some technical difficulties, we weren't able to get the recording there for the opening session. Also, today's event, let me see, is also going to be recorded as well. And another thing I did want to invite everyone to, if you haven't had a chance to attend, is the Internet Identity Workshop, which will be taking place in the fall. That's going to be October 10th through 12th. The reason why you want to come is because in terms of identity conferences, not only are you going to find probably some of the greatest density of people who are involved in decentralized identity, but you're going to find the greatest environment for discussion, for learning, for really the creative unfolding, because it is a conference format, meaning you create the agenda on the spot, and any person who attends IIW can participate in that agenda creation. They also opened up diversity scholarships. You can check out if you might be a candidate for that. That would be pretty much all expenses paid to go to IIW, housing, lodging, and also travel, and all food, all meals would be covered as well. Lastly, I do want to send out an invitation to everyone to come and check out the Decentralized Identity Foundation. So I am the Senior Director of Community Engagement at the foundation. We also call it DIF for short. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link for DIF here, right there. And also, actually, let me go ahead and share my screen for a moment, just so I can kind of show you a few things. So this is the DIF website. You'll also be able to find all of our various working groups here. And we've heard a lot of discussion on decentralized web nodes. We heard discussion on the BBS signature schema. It didn't come up so much, but if you're interested in the Sidetree protocol or the DIDCOM protocol, those are items that are being worked on at DIF. So we develop specifications at DIF. We are open source. So if you want to get involved in any of that, feel free to join We have paid and we also have free membership options. So check out which option might be good for you. And also, we do have a lot of members who we collaborate with, lots of various companies. It's a good place to come to if you want to speak to people on the engineering side of these companies, get to know them, work with them. So that's also an opportunity for everyone here as well if you'd like to follow up. And feel free to check out our calendar. The top right, our diff calendar it's very full. Actually, hold on one second. I'm having trouble getting that calendar open. Let me just open this calendar here through here. So we have lots of work items, lots of work groups. Some are IPR protected, so you do have to put in a membership agreement. We do have some open groups, including a group on interoperability. So if you'd like to drop in, we're going to have a session next Wednesday, which is going to be the 14th at 8 a.m. Pacific. So check out the calendar if you want to join our interoperability work group. So let me go ahead and stop share here. And so with that said, I do want to then begin our submissions portion of the event. So I'm going to call out the various groups to come up to the stage and present what they have. And so let me go ahead and we're going to start with the team, which is called DPFN, which is the Decentralized Personal Finance App. So I'm going to call you guys up to the stage now. Let's see, and I know that was Moises. And let me see who else. Okay, and then there's a couple more of you. I'll invite you to come up as well.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Moises. Okay, go ahead and take it away.
All right. Well, let me share my screen and let me know if you're able to see it. Hopefully, it all will work. Screens, all of it. So I'm going to share a couple of things. Go live. Looks like you're able to. So I'm just going to go ahead and present my slides. Everybody can see, right? Well, it says it's loading. Everybody can hear me too?
Yes, you are seen and heard.
Okay, good. All right, well, we are team Decentralized Personal Finance, maybe DevFin. I don't know. We're still trying to figure out the name. But anyway, so our aim for this hackathon is to just showcase a tool that offers financial guidance for consumers to be smarter about their financial decisions. But as the word says, decentralized, right? We don't amass anything. We don't keep it for ourselves. So our team is composed by Dikshita, Courtney, and myself. We are located, two in the West Coast, and I'm here in Virginia. And yeah, well, so I'm talking about centralization of personal finances. There are tools such as Mint.com and many others that I do actually offer pretty good guidance in a consolidation of financial records. It is pretty interesting in the fact that they are useful in terms of insights and accurate predictions because they obviously use some sort of analytics and machine learning processes with the data. But it comes with a hidden cost, as we all know in this world of decentralized data in DIF, is that everything that is centralized comes with hidden costs, and the entire business do exist because of our data. Without it, there wouldn't be such thing as Mint.com. So why is this a problem? Essentially, yeah.
Voices, we want to point out that we can't see the rest of the slides at the moment.
Okay. How about now? No. Let me stop sharing.
Yeah, we were just getting some comments
And
about that. Thanks for those that were pointing it out.
Better?
For me, it's currently loading.
No?
Yeah, it's showing that it's loading. I don't know if you turning off your camera would help at all.
Yes, no? No? Anybody? Wow. I think I lost you guys.
Oh no. Yeah,
I
we're
could
still
also
unable to see it.
Did I lose you guys?
I could still hear you. Uh-oh. Oh, I think he dropped. Okay, we'll see. You there, Moises?
I think
might
he's
have to hop-
resetting his computer probably.
He might have to hop back on. But if it helps, I could also drop. I have the link to your slide deck, so I could also drop it in there for people to see as well.
Yeah, thank you so much for being patient, everyone.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Oh, Alina, do you mean if I just shared the slides? Okay. Let me see. Are you still there, Moises? I think he's also having trouble with the audio. So, if you're having trouble, we could also circle back around in just a moment as well. That's another option, and maybe it'll work a little better in a few minutes. Does that work for you guys?
I think we can if he's not able to come back within like a minute, potentially. And we'll update him in the comments or something like that because we haven't had any updates on our end.
Okay. I'll go ahead and ping him. Okay, thanks for holding on there, everybody. Okay, so I'm gonna go. So why don't we'll circle back around, you guys. We'll come back, and then so yeah, so we'll go back. We'll go on to our next submission, but we'll come right back to you guys. So I'll bring you guys back down to the audience. Okay. So the next submission that I'm showing here is for the, let's see, mobile voting. So that was let's see, Mustafa and I didn't get the other name. Do you guys want to come up to the stage and share what you guys found?
Mic check 1 2. Can people hear me?
Yeah, we can hear. I can hear at least. Yeah.
Yes, we can hear.
I can hear Mustafa. Cool. Thanks, Lamar. Yeah, our team was myself and Mustafa Nagy. Where we had a lot of fun, a lot of struggles. The project kind of started because I've been interested in DIDs for a long time, but I'm like, why can't I vote from my phone? Right? Why do I have to show up to polls? Why do I have to do those things? And why can't I verify these votes? There's all this brouhaha in the United States around the last presidential election, who stole and blah blah blah. And why isn't there like a really clear method for us to verify? So I kind of wanted to tinker with something related to that. Mustafa and I got started, and we really wanted to prove, can we build an application that allows an election authority to issue a verifiable credential, sign it and issue it, and then request it when someone goes to vote and verify, yeah, it's still valid. So we hacked on an application to do that. We threw away a couple versions, but Mustafa, you wanna drive and show them the working application now?
Yeah, sure thing. Let me share my
Can
screen.
Mustafa share his screen, Lamari?
Yeah, I'm sharing. Are you able to hear
Great.
me, guys?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Okay, let me.
And
Okay.
everyone say a prayer for Mustafa. It's like 4 a.m. He's in Egypt.
Yeah, that's
This is real dedication.
Goodness.
Thanks, guys. So yeah, what we have here is like a web application for voting. So yeah, when I met Ben, we were just discussing on pizza stuff, and we got the idea like why we can improve the voting system on pizza. So our idea is, does Bino belong on pizza or not? So if we want really to get accurate results on that vote, so we were thinking to use a decentralized identity so that everyone can share his verifiable credential, which is a pizza lover verifiable credential. So it should be in a specific type of pizza, of verifiable credential. And through that, we can verify it's a valid verifiable credential or not. And if it's not valid verifiable credential, so we will not let those people vote here. So who decide that is the election entity, I can say. So each entity can actually like set their rules and their type of credential and when the vote is valid or not. So those can be managed as rules. But here we have a very simple POC to prove that concept, which is binary belong on bits or not. So yeah, it's running. So it's running on my local right now. So yeah, before starting that, we also like relied on Spross ID, dead-kit. So we created our dead document, issued a credential, and we are verifying those verifiable credentials using this dead-kit, Spross dead-kit. So yeah, so if you wanted to just start it, we can say, okay, I have this credential, which is actually, it's clear that it's a fake credential. So if I try to vote now, it will say, hey, you're not allowed to vote on this. Please enter a valid verifiable bits of voting credential. So for that, we have a pre-issued credential, which is this one. So we rely on the dead key as a dead documented method. So we rely on the dead key. So we have this issuer, which should belongs to the pizza entity, I can say. And we have this ED25 signature key type. So it's a verifiable one, it's assigned. And we know this issuer only issues those types of credentials. So whenever someone uses, he should bring his credential. Let's say from his cloud wallet, for example, like we can integrate our voting system with like cloud wallet so that we can bring verifiable credentials. Users can bring their verifiable credential. For sure, it will not be manually entered, but yeah, that's just for this POC, it will be manually entered. So if I try to use this verifiable credential, which is pizza lover 1, and I try to vote by yes, so we can see here, yeah, it's a valid one. So we count the votes of 1, and it's incremented, I mean, by 1, and we have a total of votes of 1 now. And if we try to mess with this credential by any way, we know this credential doesn't, if we just make any change, it will not be verifiable anymore. It will not be verified or valid anymore. So if we try to submit a vote now, it will say, again, you are not allowed to vote. Please enter a valid verifiable credential. So if we come back again, let's say I will be voting with no. So we have now total of 1 and total of no with total of counts of 2. So yeah, that was our main idea, to prove that, okay, verifiable credentials and decentralized identities can help a lot in achieving our purpose here. Yeah. So I guess that's it, guys, from our side. Ben?
And big thanks to Charles for helping us with the Spruce DID kit, because the verification method there is we're using that SDK to make those calls and to verify that according to W3C spec. So pretty, yeah, it was fun to work with, and thanks.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Any questions about that?
That's awesome. It looks like there's some comments coming in. Oh, great job. That was from Brian. Great project. Does it handle double voting or verifiable counting? I think maybe means like, how do you know someone did
yeah, yeah.
already? Yeah.
No, it does not at all. It's on our list. We would have loved to get to, verifying that the votes were counted as expected and that nobody double voted. I think Mustafa even used the exact same language of double voting,
Yeah.
but we just didn't get that far.
It's not yet
I think
implemented.
when we started on this yesterday, we had 30 hours until the submission deadline. We were like, okay, what are we going to get done, and are we going to
Yeah.
sleep? So.
Yeah, and regarding what that method we are using that key. Yeah, it's a private one. Yeah, we are using that key.
Someone's asking, what would you add if you had more time?
Okay. So for sure, one of most important things that we can add is like to verify double voting. That's very important, right? So no one can like comes in and do his voting twice or third time. So just make one of things wins, yes or no. Yeah. So I guess that was the most important thing. We need to add it, but yeah, we didn't get enough time to work on it.
I think we would like to integrate with cloud wallets. So anybody that's got a DID wallet that
Yeah,
so
no
people
one
can
has,
bring their own VCs.
no one has those credential actually, like in that type of format of JSONs or so. For sure, that should be integrated with cloud wallets. Yeah, that also.
I think it'd be really cool to take this really far and have a fully decentralized vote counting mechanism. So if you had a decentralized protocol similar to what Bitcoin does with its nodes and transactions, I think you could have maybe a proof of stake actually would make sense here. But if you could have nodes verify votes and have the same kind of Byzantine fault tolerant consensus algorithm, that might be pretty cool. It would at least incentivize people to tell the truth on what they feel are valid votes, and we could all verify instead of trust that our votes are being counted correctly. I think that'd be pretty cool to build out.
Yes, super cool. There's a couple more comments coming in or questions. Oh, okay. She said better than those hackable Diebold machines.
The Diebold headquarters is about 15 minutes from where I'm standing, so if we could replace all of them, we wouldn't have as many jobs in my neighborhood, but it would be better for the world.
Oh, yeah. And she said you could send a proposal to a few nation states as well.
It's so few nation states, yeah, they can accept that.
Yeah. Well, awesome, guys. So I don't see any other questions coming in. But thanks so much for doing all that hard work and presenting. It's really exciting to see what you guys came up with.
Thank you, Limar.
Sure.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for organizing, Lamar. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you very much. All right, so so I'm going to bring you guys back down to the audience, and then I will move on to the next submission. And then let me check in with DPF in. Okay, they're ready. So I'll bring you guys back up. Let's see, and then give me a second. And then the third was it Dixita?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, give me a second. Sorry, this is taking me way too long. Okay, so I invited her up too. or the person, sorry.
Yep, go ahead. Go ahead and share. So guys, if you can see the slides this time, I'm not gonna show my face. Maybe my Discord is not gonna crash, but apologies for the disconnect. So again, we are trying to build a financial tool that empowers users to make financial decisions in a decentralized manner. Next slide, please. So this is our team, Dikshita, Courtney, and myself. I think I might have presented that already. So if I go to the next slide, I was talking about Mint.com is a typical financial tool that allows us to centralize all that information that comes from mortgages, banks, any kind of a financial institution, which is actually pretty cool because it does offer quite a bit of insights and useful guidelines and tools. But of course, that comes to a price, as we all know here. Next slide, please. And the problem is that these models really incentivize the centralizer of the information. So those are the people that profit from it, but the data producers do not, and they have no say whatsoever in how their data is exchanged and who it goes to. So obviously we're here to change it. That's why organizations like DIF were created. So next slide, please. Yeah, and we can see all our digital interactions with the governments, of our countries and financial institutions, providers, health insurance companies, entertainment companies, Netflix, Google's, Facebook's, you name it, right? And then there's me on the left. And then what happens when my information actually, my information with all of these digital interactions get sold? So they go to data brokers where they now have a deeper understanding of myself with all of the sophistication of machine learning, where they can now essentially create marketing campaigns that can alter my behavior, what I purchase, who I vote for, what are my opinions about any kind of issues in the world. And we know that this leads to disaster. Next, please. So how can decentralization help? And well, it basically empowers us, the consumers, the users, the data generators, to actually choose who we share our data with. And these novel technologies with ledgers and verifiable credentials and decentralized IDs also allow us to come up with new business models where basically the incentives are democratized and it offers a more fair way of transacting for our data. Next, please. And yeah, we can see we still retain those interactions with our, in our digital lives, with paying taxes and watching Netflix and listening to Spotify and looking at my transactions. But we actually now are the choosers of where that data goes. It goes all into my system boundary, which in our case are decentralized web nodes. Next, please. So for this hackathon, we just want to show an integration of decentralized web nodes with a financial tool called Plaid, which is really the bridge of how we can extract our data from financial institutions and how we can actually store them in decentralized web nodes. And we no longer have to rely on centralized services such as Mint.com. Next, please. So I just want to talk briefly about the high-level architecture on the next one. So we can see our typical Alice and Bob on the left, and they are the owners and the complete managers of their corresponding decentralized web nodes. Our system is in the middle, and it's very thin because all we really do is a pass-through of gathering all the financial institutions' data on behalf of the owner of that data, which are the consumers. And the consumers actually can choose to not let us speak into their data at all. That's the beauty of these centralized web nodes, where we devise protocols, or what I call access control policies, that tells the system who can and cannot view the data, who can or cannot write into their decentralized web nodes. The bottom part, I'm going to refer to it in a couple more of slides, but yeah, let's go next, please. So for the MVP, again, we want to show you how we integrate Plaid into the workflow, how we obtain the user's authorization to transfer those transactions to their DONs. and we can actually view the data straight out of the DON without any need for any third party or central database. Next, please. So here we go to the demo, and let Courtney talk about the slides that she designed for this system.
Yeah, may involve me needing to unmute myself prior. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to essentially what I moved over here. But I'll go ahead and share this again. For the user experience, as mentioned before, we're aiming to empower users to take control over their data just as much as their budget, habits, and goals. So for the web view experience, it revolves around the central theme of choice. In the onboarding experience, a message would be displayed for transparency in authentication and linking banking information. But most importantly, the consumer will have the choice of how that data is stored and accessed. With Plaid, its default experience streamlines the process seamlessly. So there isn't too much additional things that we need to do in that end. And with the additional features that are planning for this demo is the application would contain a channel factor budget creation experience with preset budgets, and of course the choice for the user to customize the preset, a feature to differentiate necessities and nice to haves via tags, and a reward system set by the users.
Very cool. And before we go to what's next, I actually wanted to show you in terms of the technology how that's possibly right now. So I'm going to try to share, and I'm really praying my computer does not crash. So let me try that. And I'm not going to show my face again. I think that's what caused it. Entire screen. Go live. Please let me know if you are not able to see it. You're able? Okay. So right now, if you recall that diagram, I had a DONs running. I'm right now using addressable DONs, which are actually exposed via a public endpoint. So it's actually running. I'm going to just do a couple of commands here where I'm starting my node server, which is just really pass through. And then I'm going to start my my client. And the reason I'm doing this is because actually I want to show you in the console how my DID is created automatically by Web5. These are DVD libraries. And all right, here we go. So in this case, my server is coming. Come on. All right, and then my UI. I'm definitely UI challenged. I don't have those skills that Courtney does, but in this case, I'm gonna actually obtain authorization from the user to actually transfer the data from Plaid. Continue really quick. In this case, my sandbox environment offers me Chase. Continue with Chase, and it actually is really not Chase, it's just a mock bank. Continue. They have two-factor authentication. I received it. And submit. And in this case, I'm going to choose two accounts. The other ones actually do not work with the Plaid platform, so I don't want to submit you through that pane. Choose my checking, my savings. Continue. Read the fine print letter. Yes, I agree to sell my soul to the devil. All right, Plaid is doing all the exchange and the creation of an access token, which is long-lived, and that actually allows our app to transfer data from the financial institutions. All right. So in this case, actually, I did not show you what happens behind the covers, right? But in this case, really quick, I began the binding of my DID to my addressable DON, which lives somewhere in the ether. But I'm not going to go through that. We're running out of time. But this did actually, when I resolve I actually get the address of this decentralized web node. So if I actually just refresh, I no longer have to go through that workflow of authorization. Now just simply brings my data from the DON itself. So essentially we got rid of mint.com. I mean, unfortunately, Plaid still exists, but maybe in the future when this is mainstream, then we can actually create true interactions between the consumers and their financial institutions of their choice. Or maybe, who knows? Now everything is decentralized, thanks to TBD and their TBD exchange. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen and move on to the next set of slides. But actually, stop streaming. Okay. Yeah, Courtney, if you don't mind presenting the rest of the slides. So what's next? Yeah, well, essentially, obviously we have to now retrofit the nice design and then offer some sort of very basic insights into the data, how we group, where are your biggest expenses and so forth that we can get without any fancy machine learning algorithms. But essentially, if you recall on my slide, and I don't want Connie to go back, but I actually had two boxes which refer to a federated learning. And what this means is that we are actually seeking the consent of the users to be able to pick into their data to actually do computing at the edge. The edge being really the data that resides at the dawn. And to accomplish this, we're actually using a technology that ironically was developed by Google called federated learning. And in this case, we are actually using the raw data in a secure short-lived enclave that essentially would allow us to do the computation of that raw data and output only the updates to the local model and the actual output. For example, a query, when do I expect to spend $10,000 in a car? Just an idea with sophisticated machine learning algorithms. So only the output gets out of that enclave. The raw data is retained in there, and since it's short-lived, it can actually be destroyed and therefore eliminating any potential for leakage. And obviously, we're talking about financial institutions, but this problem it's just very common, in the healthcare industry and many other industries where, researchers, in order to develop vaccines, therapeutics, new drugs, they need a lot of patient data. But because of the compliance with GDPR and HIPAA and all of those regulations, it's really incredibly hard to actually exchange data from the patient straight to the researchers. So this way we can actually eliminate those restrictions. We have, again, I mentioned a secure enclave. So there's no risk of PII information to ever be leaked. We preserve the integrity and privacy of patients, and yet we actually have really useful output for, again, whatever pharmaceuticals and researchers do. So that's what we have next. So next slide. So any questions? Let me see my chat if any questions there. Oh, the Research Open Mind project. Yeah, that's a great tip. Why do you think it's so hard to get one's bank data over APIs? I didn't think it was so hard. I mean, the PLAD actually does support many financial institutions. So yeah, I mean, of course, we would have to research deeply how many financial institutions have, and then there are also other breaches for credit unions, and so I'm pretty confident we can get most of consumers' financial data into their corresponding DONs. That is centralized, yeah, and that's what I mean. That once it becomes mainstream, maybe there can be decentralization of those interactions with banks. And I see now, I understand your question. Yeah. Did I end up paying any ETH to do this? No, well, actually, TBD and the DIF actually have this layer 2 ION network, and it's pretty cheap. I actually don't know who does the pinging, but essentially those DIF documents get pinged into IPFS, but all of those transactions they actually get rolled up into Bitcoin. Actually, somebody from Div could actually answer that question. How is that monetized? But no, I did not have to pay any ETH to. Obviously, I'm running my very own decentralized web nodes, but I know for a fact that there's the development of tools to support the hosting of decentralized web nodes. Yeah.
Sorry, my Discord server crashed for a moment there. I do see there was another question though, which was, what challenges did you run into working with Web5?
Oh yeah, well that's very very good. I mean, I've been monitoring Web5 for a while, and I know TBD has done a tremendous amount of work. For a while, it was really the lack of documentation. Web5 libraries are actually very new. In the past, you really had to go low level with the Dawn SDK, and it was very hard. So they made it so much easier. The documentation, it's pretty complete. I'm really surprised how well they documented it. So I mean, this is an example of how to use it, and just use your imagination and start using it. It really was very easy. And I see Uncle Benny's word. Why Dons versus DITCOMs? Well, DITCOM to me, and actually this is a very good question I hear all the time, and I know people at the DIF actually try to address this issue. But really, DITCOM is a peer-to-peer communications protocol. It doesn't really address any kind of storage that is decentralized. I mean, essentially, you could actually run agents in DITCOM that will store their data in decentralized web nodes. So essentially, these technologies are complementary. They are not rivals. I mean, you can come up with awesome architectures with these two technologies. Any other questions?
I see that there's one more coming through. Someone is typing.
Okay.
Okay, stop typing. Never mind. So, yeah, that was an awesome presentation. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you,
And
everybody.
also, like, major fist bump on the design side of things. That was really beautiful. So, oh, go ahead.
Excellent.
Oh, I think you cut out. Oh, did you say something, Moises? You cut out for a moment.
No, thanks for your attention and thanks for organizing this hackathon. It forced me to learn more about Web5 and I'm pretty happy. I'm very pleased with the results. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you guys for all your work. All right. So I'm going to bring you all back down to the audience. All right, so we're going to move on to our next submission. Our next submission was actually submitted by video because this person is in Europe and couldn't be here in person. So what I'm gonna do is I'll play the video. Let me see, but I'm also going to drop a copy of the link to the video as well, so people can, because I don't know how well it's going to come through here. But I'll go ahead and share my screen and play it. Give me a second here. Get it set up. Okay, can people see that okay? All right, so I'm going to play it, but if the audio's not coming through or anything, just go ahead and drop a comment.
Good morning, everyone. My name is JC, and I'm a software developer based in Bremen, Germany. I would like to present to you my DidHack project called IdentiNet Plugin. The main goal of this project is to make decentralized identifiers and verifiable credentials easily accessible to everyone. So let's dive into it. The motivation behind this project is to bring DIDs and VCs into the hands and lives of people. To achieve this, I've taken a twofold approach. First, I've set the bar low for using DIDs and VCs, making it easy for anyone to derive value from them. Second, I've integrated DIDs and VCs into a tool that we use every day. So what is IdentiNet plugin? It's a browser extension that seamlessly integrates DIDs and VCs into your browsing experience. With this extension, website visitors can publish their DID documents and verifiable presentations, allowing visitors to verify and view the data associated with those identifiers and credentials. And here's how it works. When a visitor enters a website, the plugin kicks into action. It retrieves the DID document and the verifiable presentation associated with that website. The plugin then verifies the data and displays the status to the visitor. Visitors can review the details and make informed decisions based on the verified information. This is what the plugin looks like when it's active. You see the shield icon in the top right of the browser. As you can see, Google did not associate it with their website yet. Here we can see the IdentiNet website has an associated DID. We can inspect the details by clicking on the icon. Now let's talk about the status of the project. I'm happy to share that the source code is publicly available on GitHub. The plugin is fully functional and I have already published the Firefox extension. However, I'm still awaiting the review process for the Chrome extension. Additionally, the plugin requires performance improvements and it could benefit from an improved user interface. At the time of this recording, the crucial feature of verifying credentials is still under development. Looking ahead, my next steps involve enhancing the user interface and exploring potential use cases for the plugin, and also maybe developing a web service that offers the same functionality without requiring the browser plugin. This will further expand the functionality and accessibility of DIDs and VCs beyond the limitations of a specific browser. Speaking of use cases, let me highlight a few examples. With the IdentiNet plugin, businesses could publish information online such as their VAT or bank account numbers, providing verifiable trust to their customers. Moreover, partner logos on websites and other claims like customer credentials, testimonials can be enhanced by becoming verifiable. If you're interested in learning more or getting involved, you can find the project repository on GitHub. Feel free to reach out to me. To wrap up, I want to thank you for your time and attention and the organizers of DidHack. The IdentiNet plugin project aims to bridge the gap between DIDs and VCs and everyday web browsing, making trust and verifiability more accessible to all. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So let me go ahead and stop share. Okay, so Jan could not join us live. So if anybody, I'm gonna go ahead and tag him here. This is his Discord name right there. So if anybody has questions you want to go ahead and drop in for Jan, you can go ahead and drop them in there, and you can tag him, and he should be able to see those. Also, if you want I do have his GitHub repo if anybody wants to take a look at that. Let me grab that for you guys. Okay, that's been just dropped in, and it looks like there's a question coming through. Fab project. Okay, awesome. All right, so I guess unless there's any questions for him or if anything comes up, of course, you can always just reach out. We'll go on to the next submission. Actually, I don't know if this person is here. But his name is Premal. Is Premal here? I don't think he made it. He may be in a completely different time zone. It looks like his projects had to do with providing a credential manifest for prescriptions that doctor offices can issue and other doctors and pharmacy offices can verify from the patient or the holder. So I will go ahead and drop what he has in GitHub there. If anyone is interested to check that out, if you do want to, I'd message him. I'm not sure what his Discord name is. I don't know. Do you know, Brian? Not sure if that's information we have right at the moment, but not sure. Okay, we're not sure. But if you want to check that out, go ahead. Or maybe you can find him on LinkedIn. I think it's Permal Gandhi. That's his name. And then the next one, so this is actually our final submission. The team, it's called Homie. Love your name. So it's Sharyad, Koi, and Maima. Let me go ahead and bring you guys up to the stage.
Hello, folks. Can you hear me?
Yes, coming through loud and clear.
Great. Koi, Umaima, do y'all's mics work? Just want to check. I know we were having some difficulties earlier.
Yes, mine is working. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Sounds good.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Thank you guys for putting this event together. It's been a fantastic learning experience. Lots of fun to kind of delve into these ideas. And with that, can you guys see my screen?
It looks like it's loading.
Okay.
Let's see. Let me see what's happening here. Yeah, it looks like it's you might want to start it over again because I think it might be stuck loading. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like it's having trouble loading. Do you have like a slide deck? Maybe one of your other team members might be able to try sharing from their
Yes.
your Discord, and then can move the slides for you.
That would be great. Umaima, Koi, I know I've shared the deck with y'all. Any chance you want to give it a shot?
Oh, there it goes.
Perfect. All right. So, appreciate all of y'all's time. We're here to talk to you guys about an idea that came to mind and something we wanted to explore using DIDs and VCs. We call it Homie. Effectively, what it is a decentralized housing rental platform that aims to kind of replace incumbents in the space, including Airbnb and Vrbo, offering a decentralized, transparent alternative. Next slide, please. So, the housing market broadly, it doesn't have to be as complicated as it is today. People broadly want two things, right? People that own real estate want to make money off of their real estate, particularly when it's vacant. And renters, all of us, want to find affordable short-term accommodations that are flexible, safe to use, and comfortable. Typically, these processes are handled by centralized providers, and we could talk about that in the next slide. Legacy solutions, exist, and we use things like Airbnb, Vrbo. Perhaps we go to a hotel's website to find a short-term accommodation for, say, a vacation, a wedding, some sort of conference, any event that we want to go to for the short term. We have to go through centralized solutions. If I'm a tenant that owns real estate, I have to rely on these centralized solutions to get liquidity on vacancies in my real estate as well. And there's drawbacks here, right? So if Airbnb goes down, then all of a sudden I lose cash flow on my real estate. Lots of people that would be able to take part in the real estate liquidity market aren't able to due to extensive regulation and sign-up friction on these platforms. Not only that, when you use these platforms, they extract some percentage of the transactions between the users. And there's very little flexibility in how much data you're able to hide or share with your counterparties. So it's really up to what the platform decides is best. And one of the big learnings that we found is that this is for good reason, right? We want to make sure that the housing process is something comfortable for everybody. There are rules and regulations in place for good reason. But what these rules and regulations exist for is to basically provide assurance that this actor is a good one, that they're behaving in good faith. What we think can happen is we can establish an identity-based reputation primitive that can use DIDs and VCs to attach reputation and represent it digitally on-chain. We see this as a broad solution for lots of different problems, real estate being a great place to start. So, next slide, please. Like we said, the experience doesn't have to be complicated. Typically, what I've seen my friends do when they have a 2-week vacancy or a 1 to 2 month vacancy is they'll go onto Facebook and they'll post to their network. They'll go on Instagram and post a story saying, hey, I've got 2 months of my lease. Anybody want to go ahead and live in Colorado for a little bit? They're leveraging basically the trust associated with their social networks to fill out these gaps. What we hope we can do is bring that same level of trust in a verifiable capacity on chain so that you're not limited to just the social network that you're associated with, but rather you can have the full reach of the internet and you can trust all the actors that are with you because there are verifiable credentials ensuring that they are indeed good actors. And we'll talk a bit more about what that looks like. But broadly, and I think on the highest level, this is an exercise in making a platform that incentivizes good actors and disincentivizes bad actors. If we want our credits, this on-chain reputation-based credit score to work, it does have to be consequential to some degree. And so the rules associated with that are very important. And so let's talk about the solution a bit. Next slide, please. So the solution and what it looks like is to build a platform that has a robust marketplace. What this means is there's a very large supply side and a very large demand side. Lots of postings being put up and lots of renters looking for accommodation. Another large advantage that we'd like to highlight is having control over what data is shared. You don't necessarily have to share your name, your background, your occupation, similar to what is often required in Airbnb and Vrbo interactions. We want to kind of leave this at the discretion of the two counterparties involved in the deal. If they're comfortable with one another off of some amount of information, then there shouldn't be any need for them to overshare. Similarly, if they're not comfortable with one another based off of some amount of information, they should be able to have that flexibility to share whatever amount they feel fit sharing. The main solution to this is having a proof of one's behavior, this reputation on chain. This reputation should be tamper-proof, it should be self-custodial, and the mechanisms that determine it have to be transparent. So we don't see Homie as a company, rather we see it as a housing protocol, where all of its rules and software is open source and transparent, and it's basically an alternative to building your classic credit score and attaching it to your digital identity. Here, if you behave like a good actor on the platform, that means as a tenant, if you keep a clean lodging with running hot water and broadly meet some set of criteria, people can attest to your good actions and you can build a reputation as a good tenant. Similarly, as a renter, if you treat people's tenants, people's property with respect, and you go, you spend your time there for the agreed amount of time and you don't act with ill will, you should be able to generate some sort of reputation off of that so that you have access to this platform. So counterparties will attest to your good faith actions, and then once they attest to them, Homie can issue a verifiable credential to your DID that says this person has had this interaction and he acted in good faith. When asked, you could use this verifiable credential on many different areas outside of real estate. That's kind of jumping beyond the scope of what we've had here today. But what we are trying to build is an on-chain, socially verified, real estate specific credit score that can establish yourself as a good actor. Next slide, please. So Umaima, go for it.
Yes, thank you so much. So after seeing the solution that Homies is providing, now so the verification credential that we do have, that we do provide are valuable. So the thing that we focus on are examples, so having a lot of rentals, so that will lead to good faith. Also having a good amount of transactions, that's also going to lead to good faith, since like you had been purchasing a lot of things when it comes to our services. And also those two things will lead to having a Homies credit score that is going to be high. And when it comes to this score, it could also be only the only one that is going to be shown, since in our VS, in this Homie, where the VS can take, if they want to show what's part of the identity they want to show. So for example, if the amount of money that this person had gained doesn't want to be released or shown to others, so only by getting the critical score will show that this person is owning a lot of money. Next slide.
All right, so I'm gonna talk about Homie rental user flow. So the best way is to show you guys a demo of what we've built. You see via the screen?
Yes, we can see the screen.
Awesome. Okay, so as a renter, so my name is John Doe, and I'm a renter. So I go to Homie app, and then I look for apartments that fit my needs. So I see there's one tenant right here, and I'm deciding if this tenant is reliable. I just hit on verify tenant. And then it will leads me to the Trinsic platform, where I can verify this VC. Okay. And I can view this tenant's credential. I can see their name, email, the apartment address to make sure that this apartment is belongs to the right tenant. And supposedly I can see their credit score rating as well. And I hit on verify, and you can see the tenant is verified along with their VC. And then, so if the renter trusts the tenant and commits to stay, money enters smart contract controlled escrow. And then the next step would be stay concludes, and then tenant and evaluate each other's interactions. Did they behave in good faith or bad faith? Is updated, and the VC reflects the updated credentials.
Right, so I can see some questions popping up in the chat. I'm definitely happy to speak to them afterwards. What I'd like to talk about is what the grander vision is for why Homie over, say, Airbnb or Vrbo. And the idea is that we prioritize data flexibility and open source all platform code so that your reputation and the decisions that are made regarding your reputation are transparent. If the same rules apply to everybody, and if we can enforce them to everybody, then there's a certain guarantee that you have that when your Homie score is high, you are a good actor. And that's what we aim to build in the longest term with this platform. It's a complicated task, but we think that there's something to be said about having these credentials be socially verified from one another. Another really important aspect is the data control, right? We can add written claims and testaments from counterparties. So if you're a tenant and you did a really good job, your renter could say, this person did a really good job, and you can have that claim be described in the VC. You could also have flexibility about what other types of attestations you'd want displayed. If you want a number of good faith interactions displayed, you can have that. If you would only want your Homey credit score to be displayed, you could have that. If you want some combination of attestations to be displayed, you can have that as well. Point being that you own your data and you can decide flexibly how much you want to display in order to take part in the platform. Next slide, please. So there's lots of concerns that come with attaching reputation to your decentralized ID. Obviously, if this platform were to become consequential, having a bad reputation could indeed harm a lot of your digital interactions. So one of the things that we want to start thinking about is on-chain data visibility and privacy issues. If we're going to store the record of all these attestations on-chain, and this chain is transparent, in theory, somebody could gather a large enough amount of information about a single DID that kind of violates the privacy of that DID. So if we have 10 verified stays that are attached to a single DID, and if the renter stayed at that DID's tenancy, and they can attach that DID to an address, giving up information that shouldn't be given up. That's where zero knowledge proofs come into place, and where we can know that this person had 10 good interactions without going and counting out and seeing the details in all 10 of those interactions. So kind of a cool concept there to see how zero knowledge proofs can be applied in reputation verification. Another problem is, how does somebody with no interactions or reputation get started? Couple of solutions here. One of them is a community-oriented jumpstart attestation where perhaps 5 verified users can vouch for a new user, and that could get them started on the platform. Another way to get somebody started is through a deposit mechanism where bad actors are financially harmed and their deposit gets waived to the counterparty. Really difficult questions come into play when we think about what kind of penalties exist and what kind of settlements exist when it comes to the actions of bad actors. I see a question in the chat, right? And it says, can I report bed bugs to the renter at the rental? And can I at least report that to the owner? Yes, you can. And in doing so, what you're going to be doing is harming the reputation of your counterparty, right? The idea is that if we can design mechanisms that force everybody to act honestly, then people will not act in bad faith. That's the hope. Reporting these bed bugs, however, could also be a lie, right? So it's very important. And when I say mechanism design, we want to design the incentive structure here so that you are exactly truthful about the nature of it. You are neither hiding the bed bugs nor you are exaggerating the bed bugs when you go to report it. So once we have the right mechanism set up within the system, we can basically generate a community that is fully transparent, fully honest, and eventually can use this reputation as a jumpstart for all kinds of on-chain credit that can enable lots of interactions in different realms outside of real estate as well. That kind of covers, what we wanted to speak about. I appreciate y'all's time. Bit more abstract than some of the other stuff that's been presented today, but if you have questions about, how this came to be or how we might address some of the concerns, I'd love to jump into them.
All right, guys, thank you so much. It looks like we do have some questions that are coming into the chat, so I will just wait and see what pops in there for a moment. Fuzzy feelings for couch surfing, okay. Someone's asking if you've explored the Eigentrust algorithm. Did I get that right?
I have not personally. I will look into it to see how it might help with some of this, but sounds cool.
Someone's asking, what about something like Homey for affordable home construction?
I think that affordable home construction is a public good. And because it's a public good, the having kind of like an on-chain voting mechanism would be fantastic for that. And so similar ideas, and I'd love to kind of explore how the two can overlap.
Okay, very cool. Let's see. Did that answer your question, lifelong learner? Okay, I think so. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah, I don't see anything else coming through. So I want to thank all you guys for your hard work that you put in. Really appreciate it. I hope you guys had a great time. Yeah, and it looks like you guys are the last team today. Let's see, a couple other people. They were going to submit. I don't think they're here. I was going to ask them. They wanted to speak, but I didn't think they showed up. So that's it. I think we're at the end, guys. Got another comment coming in, but in the meantime, I'll just say this was a really fun week. This is the first DidHack that we've done. So yes, Mustafa, definitely get some sleep now. Thanks for coming. Really appreciate you being here. This is our first DidHack, so we want to know how we did. So we do have something we're going to send out to everyone as just so we can get feedback from you, how we can make it better. What was your experience like? Did you need more time? Did you need more support, more resources, anything like that? Let us know. Because we do want to continue DidHack in the future, and we really do appreciate your feedback. And then I do want to thank our participants, our sponsors. Very special thanks to Spruce ID, Doc, and Aviary Tech for sponsoring the event, and also our partners, Diff and Women Who Code Boulder Denver. And also special thanks to everyone who presented, Trinsic, Spruce ID, Aviary Tech, Doc, TBD, and also Marcus from Danube Tech. So yeah, so we're really excited to hold this event again, and we hope that you guys let other people know. We definitely want to grow this community, make it an educational community for more people to come to decentralized identity and learn about this technology. So thank you once again, everyone, for coming. Are there any last comments, input, question, anything that anyone would like to share? Okay, so Brian put the survey in there for people if you want to take a moment. It should only take a couple minutes. That's it. Super short. That helps us out a lot. We don't have another DidHack scheduled yet. We do. There is the did I put the link to the Internet Identity Workshop in there for you guys? I would check this out. There are options to join remote to some of the sessions as well if you can't make it in person. So that's the link to the Internet Identity Workshop, which is happening in October, and then the organizers of DidHack are going to be there, as well as a lot of other people that are in this community. So question, is this space entry level, new grad friendly to join the workforce? I would say I think events like this are part of what's going to bring more people into this space, but curious to hear what Brian's thoughts might be on this. if he's there.
Yeah, I'll just hop on the stage here, and yeah, I mean, definitely, like there's lots of companies working in this space, and there's more and more kind of starting, and everyone's looking for juniors. It's always good to train people, and it's good to train in this new exciting avenue, I'd say.
Awesome. Yeah, and also keep an eye out for events. We do post various events. We have Ask Me Anything sessions also at DIF, which are, if you are on LinkedIn, this is our LinkedIn. So if you do want to just follow us there, or if you do use Twitter, there's a lot of it. There's educational events that we also put on as well.
Yeah, thanks everyone for all your hard work this week. It's been a fun event for sure.
Awesome. Yes. And then, so we're going to go through the submissions, and like I said, we're going to share the prizes, which is sharing the cheer. We have special Did Hack swag that we're going to send out to the top 3 entries. So we will be in touch and get all your details in order to send that over to you. And we're going to announce that async tomorrow here on Discord in the afternoon. And then we have one more message from Mustafa. All right, thanks to you also, Mustafa. I really appreciate you being here so late. Thank you. Awesome. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for coming and for participating. This is awesome, and I hope you can make it next time.
Yep, thanks everyone. See you next time.
Bye.